Was there a tactful way for Brian Kelly to leave Notre Dame that everybody would have been okay with?
You know what? I find it hard to imagine there's any way, because what do all these coaches say when they're in the living room, of an 18-year-old is, I'm going to be your coach. I don't know of any that sit in there, and maybe I'm wrong, I'm not in the living room, where they say, you know what, come to my school and I might be there and I might not be, for the next, for your time there. So they all give the thought that they're going to be there. And then as far as leaving, what makes it tough, Dan, is now it's less than 2 weeks away is the early signing period. The NCAA did that. It used to be in the February where you had a little more time. Now you got to have your ducks in a row by then. So the only way I could think listen, we're two guys from a different era. I don't think it can be held off. Could Brian Kelly say, hey, to the AD, we're the only ones talking right now. My plan is to do this, but I don't need this out on social media. I need to go back and talk to my team first. I don't know if you can do that anymore. Mm-hmm. I honestly do not know if you can do that anymore. I'm glad he went back and talked to him after the fact. He didn't do that when he left Cincinnati to go to Notre Dame, and I certainly had a problem with that. I don't know if there's a tactful way with the timing of everything now in college football.
And also, everybody saw this with Cliff Kingsbury, where the Oklahoma rumor. And he doesn't deny it, and he didn't really push it to the side and say, I'm absolutely not going to Oklahoma. It was like, okay, he's going to use that to get a new deal with Arizona. What if Arizona just said, if you want to go coach in college, then go ahead. We got a young team. You want to go? Go.
I think Cliff would probably take that chance. But I get your point, because you're basically, and I don't blame. Listen, we would all. What's the greatest word there is in contract and talk? It's leverage. And all of a sudden, you have other people after you, and you can go, because contracts don't mean a damn thing as far as coaches are concerned. So they can go. So if you have the leverage, how many college coaches are going to get paid like Mel Tucker did? Because their name gets thrown out. I'm waiting for Matt Campbell from Iowa State, if he doesn't take another job, to get paid. If you can use it to your advantage, so be it. But there is that side of it. If they say, oh, no, go ahead, you can go if you want. It would be really interesting what would happen then. I don't expect that to happen, but certainly a team could say it.
But if I'm Oregon and Mario Cristobal wants to flirt with Miami, then I would say go. Given what you've produced the last two games against Utah, go. Feels like you're already out the door.
So I guess the other side of that, because we were talking about that with Jim Harbaugh, right? Where he would get them to 9-10 wins a year, but he wasn't beating Michigan State consistently. He hadn't beaten Ohio State at all. He wasn't getting to the Big Ten championship. He certainly wasn't getting in the 4-team tournament. So you would say, was it getting close for Jim to be gone because he was losing those big games? But then it's like, and I say the same thing with Mario. Who are you getting? Where are you going? Who are you going to get? He's getting you right to the brink every year. And at some point, I know time will run out. But that's the first thing I always ask is like, okay, where are you going to go that's going to all of a sudden you're going to beat Utah, this time? Is Mario Cristobal the reason you're not beating Utah and you could find somebody that can?
How about Chip Kelly returning to Oregon?
Boy, wouldn't that be something? It just certainly hasn't worked for Chip the way he thought it was going to be. When he was running that offense there and then brought it to the NFL and it fizzled out there and the return to college. So listen, it would not shock me at all if they would try and relive the day there a little bit. I don't know if you can, but give it a shot. If you want to have somebody that had success, there's a proven guy who had success at your school. That's actually a really good name.
I don't know. I don't want to start the Chip Kelly to Oregon if Mario Cristobal takes the job at the U. It's just a thought, thinking out loud here, wondering what Chip Kelly's contract status is. I think in a month, Chip Kelly would be, okay, let me see if I have this right. This according to the LA Times. Chip Kelly's contract buyout is $9 million. He's owed that through January 15th. So after that, there's no buyout. Be easier to hire him. That's interesting. Now, I don't know if Oregon would want Chip Kelly. I'm just thinking out loud that maybe Chip Kelly would go back there Why don't reach out to John Canzano? He always seems to know what's going on there.
Stir it
Our
up.
buddy. Yeah. Yeah, McClub.
Is Oregon one of those top-level jobs? Feels pretty good.
Hell, well, UCLA is, even though they blew out USC, I don't expect USC to be in that shape anytime soon again. I'm just curious if you're Mario Cristobal, do you want the Miami job or the Oregon job? Because I would want to, stay at Oregon. You go to the U. I know he played there, and Miami has fired their head coach, Manny Diaz. I think Manny was out recruiting. As of yesterday, 2 days ago, he's out recruiting. It's got to be weird. Like Chip Kelly or Brian Kelly was out recruiting in Orange County. And he's there with his offensive coordinator, Tommy Reese. And then all of a sudden gets on the plane with his attorney, and Tommy Reese stays in Orange County and has to take the commercial plane back to South Bend because Brian Kelly is realizing he's going to be the next head coach at LSU. So you go in to a recruit's house knowing there's a possibility that you're going to be the next head coach. But the recruiting window here, it's so important. And this is what Rick Neuheisel had to say last week. He said, why can't we move it another week? Can we change the recruiting period here? Because then you could have coaches who could complete what they started with their team or finish the regular season or a conference championship game. Might not be there for the bowl game, but I think that's what Rick Neuheisel was pointing out. Yeah, Paulie.
A bunch of different reports that University of Miami is preparing to throw $8 million a year at Mario Cristobal, and it's $9 million to buy him out of his Oregon deal.
Mm-hmm.